Our knowledge is a little island in a great ocean. All human knowledge is precious whether or not it serves the slightest human use.
There ain't no man can't save me. There ain't no man can enslave me. Ain't no man, a man that can change the shape my soul is in.
Hi everyone, I'm Trevor, and thank you so much for continuing to watch these knowledge management e-learning videos. This is the second video of the knowledge management e-learning modules, and in this one I will be teaching about knowledge management fundamentals and theory. In the previous videos, that being the introduction to this e-learning course, I explained knowledge management as a broad concept that involves trying to better organize the information that you already have so that it can be applied to make your organization more effective at what it does. Now, we're going to get into some more depth while trying to make theories on knowledge management as fun as possible. First of all, let's answer some questions about why we're doing this. The what's in it for me question. Well, yes, we could all benefit from any trainings that teach us new things, and especially training that teaches you new ways to think, as this training is intended to do. The biggest beneficiary to you knowing more about knowledge management should be your organization, most likely the Philippine Red Cross, when you put these lessons into action. So thank you in advance for paying attention to this training, and most important of all, thinking deeply about the material and questions that will be presented. So, do I really need knowledge management training? The answer to that question is both yes and no. Of course, the chapters are here right now without having had any formal knowledge management training, and they're doing just fine. However, good organizations with strong cultures like the Philippine Red Cross are always trying to improve and better their performance, and good knowledge management is one of the ways that you are able to do exactly that. You can run a functioning organization without considering knowledge management principles or developing an action plan that involves knowledge management. However, if you ignore knowledge management, you cannot maximize the full potential of your organization and its people. Lou Platt, the former CEO of the massive American technology company Hewlett-Packard, or HP, is reported to have said, "If only HP knew what HP knows, we would be 3 times as productive." This reflects how HP had a tremendous pool of talent and knowledge among its employees, but had difficulty with tapping into that knowledge to utilize it to its full potential. In large organizations, people are put in specific positions that require specific skills, even though they may have skills to accomplish so much more than just that. This statement by a CEO of HP could easily apply to the Philippine Red Cross. Everyone already has so many slashes behind their main position, and of course people have the talents, but not necessarily the time, to do so much more. If we can listen to each other, share our knowledge, and act on the information we have, the PRC can be more effective in responding to emergencies and better serving the communities. Knowledge management is a surprisingly difficult field to define, as it can be all-encompassing and vary widely by organization. John P. Gerard, a writer and speaker on knowledge management, collected and analyzed over 100 definitions that differed widely depending on the industry and organization that was using the term. After analyzing these series of definitions, he offers his own succinct definition that knowledge management is the process of creating, sharing, using, and managing the knowledge and information of an organization. This definition will be used for knowledge management on the Bravo project because it reflects the needs and processes for knowledge management within the Philippine Red Cross. I would also like to include a second definition for this video, just because it helps explain what managing knowledge is supposed to look like. This definition comes from leadership advisor and CEO coach Mike Myatt. Mr. Mike Myatt says that knowledge management describes an organization's ability to collect and convert data into information, turn information into knowledge, and knowledge into an operating advantage. So, we see from these definitions that knowledge management is a complicated subject, and there is very little agreement among self-proclaimed knowledge management experts on what knowledge management actually is. If you go on Google and search images for knowledge management, you will find that almost none of the images are in any way similar to any of the other images, because everyone has different diagrams of what knowledge management looks like. However, there are some big ideas that I would like to introduce to you, and I would like you to consider these ideas both during and after these e-learning video sessions. I'll show you some diagrams that other people have constructed, and also some that I have made by myself, which draw inspiration from a variety of sources as I research the topic more. I am also going to include a lot of quotes, especially by intellectuals and historical figures. You may not have heard of the person who said the quotes, and you might not even interpret the quote in the same way as I do, but that is perfectly okay. As long as you're considering it, that means you're learning and thinking, and that is the goal of this course. And lastly, I will try to use some humor, or at least jokes that I think are funny. Humor can be a great way to learn different things and helps you enjoy these videos, so I'm sorry in advance for the bad jokes. So, back to knowledge management. What is all of this about again? Well, first off, let's investigate what knowledge management actually is and how it differs from the terms data, information, and wisdom. Of course, you know these words, but what is the difference between them? Do we really know what they each individually mean? Can I substitute one for the other? People certainly do mix them up all the time. Data is facts. Everything can be categorized as data in some way or another. Almost everyone watching this video will have brown hair and be employed or be a volunteer with the Red Cross. These are basic facts or data points. Information is a collection of data. Data itself cannot be wrong. It is what is. But information can be wrong. Information can contain data, but is organized in such a way that it has relevance and purpose. I can ask you to count all the trees in this photo, and you can tell me there are 6,943, when in fact there are 7,349. The data, the facts, will always be there, but information is often more useful than data because of the form that it is put in. Data can be highly impractical and not always all that useful to us. So I ask you to go and count the trees again. We as humans are not very good at counting hundreds of things that look identical or making use of it without a further context. But you bring a friend and you go to Canada and you count the trees again, and sure enough, there are a lot of trees, like 1,000,000 trees. But do we really care if there are 1,000,000 trees or 1,000,001 trees? Not really. But using this data, that there are a lot of trees, well, that informs us of something. It is information that this area is covered by a lot of trees or a forest. And this is more useful information with this context to our human brains because we're not machines. If you tell someone that in this area there are 647,893 trees, that will not help them that much. I don't know exactly what 647,893 trees look like, and I doubt you do either. But if you can communicate to someone that in this area of Canada, there is a forest that is 6 kilometers wide and 4 kilometers long, well, that is usable and transferable information that gives me some context for this forest. Now, knowledge is, to put it simply, what we know in our brains. It is what we know and what we know we don't know. We know that forests are wild and that animals live in the forests. The data is the exact number of birds, bears, lions, and tigers, and whatever else lives in that forest. The information is that bears and birds have been spotted in that forest, because come on, Trevor, lions don't live in forests, and there are definitely no wild tigers in Canada. But you do not have to have seen all of the data, as in all of the individual animals, or read reports and guidebooks on the information about the specific animals spotted in that specific forest to have the knowledge that there are probably animals in this forest. It is your intuition based off of all of the data and information that you have learned about forests during your life experience so far that informs you of this likelihood. So the data is there are trees here, and the information is that these trees comprise a forest. And what about the knowledge? Well, data includes things that are physically present, and information is the collection and attempted organization of that data to give it context. Where knowledge becomes powerful is when our brain can synthesize it with other things we know to draw conclusions. Let's consider the concept of forest fires. These are not much of an issue in the Philippines, where the humidity is very high, even during the dry season. However, in the dry climate of Western North America, forest fires are a major issue during the summertime. Millions of acres of forest burn every year and threaten lives, property, and national parks, while causing choking air pollution in cities hundreds of miles away. The Red Cross helps people who have been displaced by these forest fires. So let's apply the framework here. The data is that there is a forest fire. Your information comes from knowing this and knowing where the forest fire is currently located. However, this can change quickly given the nature of forest fires. Your knowledge includes the sum of everything you know about the situation, the information, the data, including characteristics of forest fires, the geography of this particular area, and the assets that you have to fight the forest fire. Where your wisdom comes in is on deciding your course of action to take, using the knowledge that you have. Because sometimes forest fires can be remarkably devastating and cost people their lives, but sometimes they are necessary for renewal, because out of ashes of old burned forest grow new trees reaching for the sky. A group called Infogeneering uses another good example of the difference between data, information, and knowledge. They describe how the British government tax office lost CD-ROMs, okay, it's an old example, that contained the tax records of 25 million British people. Of course, this was a problem that everyone fixated on, because everyone in Britain was concerned about their financial information being misused. In all of the TV news clips and newspaper articles about the loss of the tax records, the media used the words data and information interchangeably. They used these words like they meant the exact same thing. But in reality, the tax office lost the information, not the data. The information was what they had collected and organized to represent the data of all these taxpayers. But it was impossible to lose the data itself, because the data is what is. And so,
this is Mr. E.R. Bradshaw of Napier Court, Black Lion Road, London, SE14. He cannot be seen. Now, I'm going to ask him to stand up. Mr. Bradshaw, will you stand up, please?
Well, his data is still that he lives at
Of Napier Court, Black Lion Road, London, SE14.
But maybe he moved recently, and the information the tax office lost on him is now incorrect.
He cannot be seen. Now, I'm going to ask him to stand up. Mr. Bradshaw, will you stand up, please? This demonstrates the value of not being seen.
And now it is definitely incorrect because he did not learn his lessons on how not to be seen. If you want to read more on Infoengineering's website and find out how they further explain these three words, I have included the Infoengineering link on the Google Classroom. And if you enjoyed dry British humor like I do, you should check out more videos by Monty Python. Okay, now let's apply this example in another fun way. Knowledge is knowing tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting a tomato in a fruit salad. Notice how I gave you a few seconds there to laugh it out? Now let's use this joke as a teaching point. Using the explanations of data, information, and knowledge given above, we know that data is the tomato itself. Information is knowing that there was a tomato there, although maybe it moved, maybe it rotted. Knowledge is knowing a tomato is a fruit, and wisdom informed your action of not putting a tomato in fruit salad. So what did we learn from this? Other than we shouldn't confuse data with information and information with knowledge, and that a database should really be called an information base, but I guess that doesn't sound as cool. So why does it matter to understand the differences? Because having knowledge involves having intuition and knowing things. Your knowledge is formed by the information that you have, which comes from the data that you have collected. Dealing with knowledge, information, and data is an important part of almost every job at the Philippine Red Cross, and understanding and considering these differences will be beneficial as you go about collecting and managing it. Thanks for sticking with me on this video. See you soon. Bye.
You'll say we've got nothing in common, no common ground to start from, and we're falling